In the dry season, early in Tet, we used convoys. We would anchor out in the delta of the river, and then early morning, we would all get in a line and go upriver together. It didn't take the VC long to figure out that they could run a wire across the river, put a mine on it, and then hit the first boat and the last boat in the convoy, and everything else in between became trap targets. And they sunk some of our boats. For instance, on one of the convoys, the 62 boat, which was part of our squadron. My boat at the time was the 63, so it was a sister boat. And dry season, your channel was very narrow, so you couldn't turn around in the channel easily. So everything in between was trapped and became sitting ducks. They would hit the boat right forward of the con where the fuel tanks were. There were about 7,500 gallons of fuel for our own use, for our engines. And they would wait until you slid across their mine, and then they would touch it off. It would be a command detonated kind of mine. And that would break the back of the boat, and it would sink almost immediately. So what we did after that kind of mission was change our tactic, where early in the morning, we would all be anchored off the delta, and 6 boats with what we call cutter blades, which was a chain with sharp steel 90-degree angle blades, and they would run up the river to cut any wires ahead of us so they couldn't detonate the mines under us. And we would go up fairly far apart, but the cutter boats would cut ahead of us, and so we could safely get up the river. So that's how we got around doing that. It became much different in the monsoons, where the channels were very wide, the rivers were going out of their banks, and then we would station 2 gunners on the forecastle, port and starboard side, with M16s with a whole raft of clips, and everything that was washing down the river, the VC learned to put mines on it. So if it hit you, they were command detonated kind of mines. They would go off and blow your ramp off, and the river would flood in and flood your cargo and hopefully sink you. And so the 2 men would take the 16s, and anything that was floating in the river, they would blast it ahead of them. Just constantly shoot anything with a lot of lilies and tree trunks and whatever, and they would shoot it. And every once in a while, they'd hit something, and usually end up knocking them right off the gun. But it wouldn't, we just pick them back up out and put them back up there, put somebody else up, and they would shoot everything, and that's how we got up and down the rivers during the monsoons. Very different tactic during monsoons and during the dry season.